Gentlemen, today we're going to have an uncomfortable conversation because
We're gonna have a few.
lot of men are out here ruining good situations. And it's not because women are impossible. It's because insecurity got these dudes acting weak. And I know some of y'all don't want to hear that, but let's keep it real today. All right. Some of y'all need constant reassurance, constant validation, constant proof that this woman even likes you. And the second that her energy changes, the texting starts to slow down, or she ain't climbing all over you, you start to mentally unfold. Now you're overthinking, you're spiraling, you're double texting, you're emotionally attaching to these women too fast. You're talking yourselves out of situations that weren't even bad yet. And nephews, women can feel that. Women can feel when a man needs her attention just to feel okay about himself. And that's why today matters, because this just ain't about dating. This is about self-respect. This is about emotional control. And this is about masculine stability. See, grounded man does not need a woman constantly proving that she likes him, she wants him, or that she's not leaving. But weak men need that every 5 minutes. Because once a woman feels she has to emotionally babysit you, nephew, that attraction starts dying. So today, we're talking about men panicking over mixed signals. We're talking about men getting attached before reality even exists. We're talking about women that are addicted to toxic chaos and why some men destroy their growth just to keep a woman entertained. And look, because a lot of y'all, look, you're not losing these women. You're losing your position. So that means you're losing your center. You're losing your discipline. You're even losing your calm. And once a man does that, now his emotions are driving the car. And that's when he chases reassurance. That's when he overreacts. That's when y'all start to get needy or start performing instead of leading. And nephews, that weak energy kills more relationships than bad looks ever will. So one of the men tonight almost spiraled into depression over a woman he never even met. And we're going to get into that. Look, here's the thing. Modern dating right now, it's got men starving for validation. It's got women addicted to chaos, and everybody's overthinking themselves into misery. But today, Uncle Johnny and I are here to fix that, because real masculine confidence, it's not acting tough. It's not pretending not to care. It's not this fake alpha internet nonsense. Real
it's not buying an expensive car and leading with your wallet.
Real confidence is staying grounded when uncertainty shows up. And that's the game. So nephews, call in, drop your questions in the chat, email Uncle Johnny to get on next week's show. And if this stream helps you, do us a favor, hit that like button, share this stream, and help us reach more men who need to hear this conversation. Because a lot of men don't need better pickup lines. They need emotional discipline. They need self-respect, and they need the ability to stop collapsing every time life gets unclear. My name is William. I'm your certified unk today. Johnny, go ahead and introduce yourself for all our nephews watching.
So I'm JohnnyDumbbell, your shaggy haircut needing personal trainer here in Pittsburgh, PA. And I got to tell you, I agree with Uncle Bill here. We are going to have some stories today that I would be willing to bet my official Johnny Dumbbell coffee mug is going to teach you at least a thing or two about how to deal with things, when it comes to these different concepts of dating. Anyway, my main focus is to bring an understanding to young men when it comes to things like simple stuff like strength building and fitness, complicated things like work and stress management. And the most complicated thing for some of you guys, for some reason, is understanding when things are not right and what you should be doing or not doing about it. Now, Uncle Bill and I have a lot of stories about our lives. Our biographies would be a hot mess. We're not proud of a lot of those stories, and the whole family knows those stories. That's why we're your favorite uncles, because we might not be proud of those stories or how they went or how they ended, but we are very proud of the men that we become based on the lessons that we had to learn from those stories the hard way. If you listen up, you'll find out that we screwed up, so you don't have to. Let's dive in.
All right, Johnny, let's get to work. Let's get with the first question tonight. Nephews, call in with your own questions. Our phone lines are open. We're here to help you out. And like Johnny always says, if you're going to call to troll, at least do a good job doing it.
Yeah, I mean, entertain us, man. We do find it funny, you know. So we've got Jay, and Jay, his subject in the email was avoiding kissing. I mean, look, if you're saying avoiding marriage, I would say, if you're saying avoiding marriage, I'd say great job. But you're saying avoiding kissing. It was my third date with this. It was my third date with this gorgeous girl. For some reason, he felt the need to tell us she's 30. She drove 2 hours to see me, and every date prior, we've had a great time. Okay.
All right. She drove 2 hours. I'll decide I don't mean to interrupt you, but.
No, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So, this date was the same, yet initially on my first attempt to kiss her, she showed me her cheek instead of her lips. How many prior dates have you had without kissing this girl? Or even trying? Anyway, later on in the night, she was much more receptive to kissing. We got back to my place, and she's not really interested in all of a sudden in kissing or doing anything intimate for that matter. We slept on the same bed, but didn't do any, God, we have to say this for the algorithm, adult fun. The next day, I try kissing again, and she's receptive, but doesn't seem interested. So in other words, she gave you a mercy peck. Okay. So at this point, I stopped trying. Excuse me. She doesn't seem really into me, and I think I should just stop seeing her. But she said she wants to go out with me still. Not sure how I even feel about that. Okay, here's my question, and I want this to be in your minds, guys. Why is she driving 2 hours for a guy she doesn't want to be intimate with or anything? What is the draw for her to drive a 2-hour drive to be with a guy that she continues to not want to do anything physical with? What is it about you that you have or that you do that makes her keep coming out there, even though there is absolutely no physical sexual attraction as far as we can tell? Bill?
Nephews, this is what insecurity does to men. You have a woman here that drove 2 hours to come see him, and she slept in the same bed, stayed the night. She wants to see you again. And somehow your brain,
as long as you didn't touch her.
I don't think she likes me. Now, I get it. Johnny and I are always telling you to read the room, and we're giving you tips and game on how to do that. But if you were paying attention, you would know that if it's not there, you're wasting your time. You don't want to waste your time or hers. But I don't think that's the problem.
I honestly don't care about her time. Quit wasting yours.
I just need to know, how much reassurance do you need before you calm down? Because you're using physical attraction like a scoreboard. Meaning if there's authentic kissing, that you're winning, and if there's hesitation, that you're losing. And I have to tell you, though, it's weak positioning, because now your emotional state changes when her energy changes. Yeah. And women can feel when a man starts needing that physical affection just to feel secure. And that kind of pressure, it's going to kill attraction fast. Now, some of y'all want women to perform attraction constantly so you can feel okay internally. That's exhausting to them. And that's when they start pulling back, because they feel your need for reassurance. You don't have.
I feel like that happens later in the relationship, though.
Well, okay, look, a lot of men think, Johnny, the second she likes me, she should be all over me. No, because they're human beings, and life is not corn. Okay. Sometimes comfort fluctuates. Sometimes your pacing fluctuates. Sometimes your nerves can fluctuate, and attraction builds differently in real life. A grounded man understands that. Weak men panic the second that little certainty starts to disappear. What I really need you to do, nephew, is stop looking at one kiss, one night, one reaction, and start looking at patterns. Shout out to JohnnyDumbbell. Bottom line are actions. Does this woman show up? Does she invest in you? Does she communicate? Does she make an effort? Does she want to keep seeing you? And that's what really matters. So, and look, Johnny, I know you have some really good advice for him, but I just want to give him a little bit of game here on how I would fix what I see as his issue. Because first, he has to stop testing attraction constantly. And a lot of insecure men, they keep escalating physically because they're secretly checking, does this woman still want me? And that energy, nephew, it feels real needy. So the second thing I need you to do is calm your nervous system. And this is where a lot of men really don't even know what they're doing. You got a woman investing heavily already, and you're mentally talking yourself out of the situation. It means you're insecure. I'll be honest with you. To her, your insecurity is louder in reality. All right. Let me slow this down and try to explain this a little bit to you. All right, because men ruin good situations when they need constant proof instead of trusting the patterns. Johnny, why don't you explain that a little bit better to him about spotting patterns, bottom lining your actions, and what he should be really looking for? And if
Jay,
he's not, go ahead.
Jay, the big thing here is I want you to ask a couple of questions. Like we said, bottom line her actions, or in this case, her inaction. But here's the thing. Being willing to drive 2 hours to see you and then not wanting to have any kind of physical contact does kind of sound like a contradiction. And frankly, it probably is. Turning your head for the first kiss could tell you that her attraction is not on the same page as yours at the moment. But you've indicated you had been out a few times before you tried to kiss for the first time. To me, that sounds like maybe you finally worked up the courage. And so that could spell a lack of self-confidence that made you afraid to do it before. Who knows? We didn't really get to read that part. But here's what I'm trying to say. So you slept on the same bed, clothed. Okay. Maybe she didn't want to drive 2 hours home in the dark late at night. Hey, man, I get it. But did you spend that time sleeping clothed, or did you spend that time trying to like sweet talk, seduce, or beg for more action? Because I know a lot of you younger guys will sit there and try to like use logic and reasoning as to why the two of you should hook up. And that is never, ever, 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 and I do mean ever, going to work. Now, here's the thing, though. I don't think that she's sexually attracted to you. I do think she has a reason for continuing to come out and see you. I don't know what that is, because I don't know what your living situation is. I don't know what your financial situation is. I don't know what it is that keeps her coming out to you. But at this point, it sounds to me that there's something other than an attraction that's bringing her out to you. Now, the biggest thing that we need to focus on here is you're not happy with the way things are progressing. And you know what? You're allowed to not be happy about that. You have your doubts. Otherwise, you wouldn't be writing your uncles asking what's possibly going on here. And I think you have this fragile, ego-fueled doubt in your mind that you're looking for one or both of us to confirm. If that's what you need, Jay, I'm going to tell you two things. Number one, you're probably right. And number two, I'm glad to see that you're paying attention to some of the signs, but I think you need to have a little more self-confidence and understanding that, you know, you don't have to second guess yourself. If something walks, talks, acts like a duck, it's probably a duck. And if it's not, it's a goose, which is similar enough for you to avoid. All right. And in this situation, I think that what's happening is that you're dealing with a stalemate. Now, it's quite possible she might have kept coming back hoping to see some kind of spark. She might be looking for a spark that maybe hasn't shown for her. Maybe that's why she keeps coming back. But the thing of it is she definitely didn't come on 3-4 dates for you to kiss her for the first time after that and then say, oh, gee, I want to keep seeing you, even though, God, don't touch me. I don't really care whose fault it is, but this is, and I use fault in air quotes, this is a clear-cut case of she's just not sexually attracted to you, man. I mean,
Johnny, I know you're thinking that there's some kind of extra incentive for her to date him.
Well, I don't know.
Telling us about it, but this woman is driving over 2 hours to see him.
Right, she's motivated by something. It just isn't him.
I think it is it's a sort of physical attraction, but he's messing it up. It's declining because he's not moving it to the next level. He's keeping himself in a friend zone, really. So I think he's making a number of mistakes in this situation, and letting her spend the night is the first one. This woman's not even your girlfriend yet, and you're going to be unconscious around her? So I'm just kind of confused about that. When you guys get together, you should be getting together, hooking up, and then you tell her, hey, that was a lot of fun. Reach out the next time you want to do this. That's what you do. You don't.
Yeah. What he's actually doing is more of a, well, hey, see me as soon as possible, and hopefully something more will happen. That's not the same thing, Jay. It's not.
Okay, we got some comments here in the chat, Johnny. Let's go over them. Nugget says hi.
Hey, what's going on?
He's the champion 3 times in a row. Indonesia, ACL. Appreciate the comments, y'all. Hey, call in. Our phone lines are open. TikTok, y'all can join the rest of the panel over on my YouTube. Call in. Our phone lines are open. We got another comment here, Johnny. First time I'm seeing you. Cool. Appreciate the comment, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you guys can call up with your own questions. We're really talking about confidence and insecurities today, and we want to give you the game on that. Now, Johnny, I could go back to the first question and give him a little bit of game on kissing, but I'm not even sure if he's ready for that, because that first kiss, let me tell you something. That woman is all of them are going to be slightly nervous, and for different reasons. So it's on you as a man to take leadership here. So there's a few different ways I like to do it. Sometimes I'll let the woman know that I'm going to kiss her, and I'll ask her if she wants to keep her eyes open or if she wants to close them. And, just like, so you want to keep your eyes open or you want to close them? And she'd be like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, we're about to kiss. And they'd like laugh. And so,
dude, I dated this one girl. I swear to God, I'll never forget. I wanted to kiss her, and the first time, and I honest to God, I don't know how I didn't laugh. But when she was leaning in, I swear her eyes went from normal to, and I'm, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, man.
All right.
I got through the peck as quick as I could.
Something else, nephews. I like to sit next to women. Like, I don't sit across from them when we're out on a date. I'm sitting next to them and I'm whispering in their ear the whole time. So that first kiss, it's going to come just natural. The attraction, that connection, they can't help it. So if you're struggling with that, that means she doesn't want to kiss you, which means you have some different issues, nephew. It's really not about kissing at that point. It's about attraction and being able to discern if a woman is attracted to you or not.
I mean, for all we know, could have been your breath.
Could have been your breath.
But something, Uncle Bill, even if that was the case, I still feel like if she's not sexually attracted to him, what is making her drive 2 hours to see him more than once?
Oh, you know what? Now, if
that's
you
all
call up,
I mean, I just wish I had more detail.
If you're catching this live, nephew, please call up. Johnny and I got a couple follow-up questions for you. If you're catching this on the replay, then send him another email. We'd like to get a little more into this.
Nephew, that's in the live chat here on YouTube.
Call up with your own questions. We're live. Johnny, we got another question from who's next tonight?
So we got Jerry, and I love that we're doing a matinee because I keep saying tonight too. It's like, I love that. So anyway, Jerry says, and guys, you're going to love this. My girlfriend wants to see the worst of me. So we're going from the awkwardness of the first kiss to the demand for the first fart. I don't know. So I actually had an argument with a girl I dated years ago. My first fiance, when I was engaged years ago, actually got a little miffed because we had been together like 6 or 8 months at that time, and I hadn't farted in front of her. I told her, I said, listen, you're not going to want to marry me. Anyway, so me and my girlfriend have been together for a few months, and it was great and all at the start, going on dates often, getting to know each other more deeply, and so on. But lately, she's been bringing up her exes, telling me how they were extremely manipulative and narcissistic, because that's a word people throw around nowadays. Not saying it's not real, but let's face it, I think we use it a lot more than it's true. I'm probably guilty of it too. I comfort her about it, and I tell her that she didn't. I comfort her like a good simp and tell her she didn't deserve for that to happen to her, showing her how I'm not like the others and how I care deeply for her. How many times do we hear that phrase? But then she goes on about how she liked being in a toxic relationship and wishes I was more evil, in quotes, towards her. Here's a little backstory. My ex and I, he's talking about the girl before this girl, dated for 2.5 years. And he says, I was not the best to her. I was evil, as she would say, as my current girlfriend would say, and definitely did not treat her well at all. After we broke up, I spent the next year single so that I could work on myself, grow as a person, and watch my uncles give the best advice I've ever heard. So I don't treat anyone like that again because it really did affect my ex in the long term. By the way, thank you, Jerry. Now that my current girlfriend wants me to actually hurt her, I really don't know what to do about it. I'm obviously not going to hurt her. I have no intentions of it. But I've told my girlfriend a little bit about my past relationship and how I wasn't good in it and how I was toxic. Again, another word we use a lot towards my ex and how long I worked on myself to get better. But she seriously seems to dig it, and I don't know how to feel about it. I don't want to put anyone through that sort of pain that I had put my ex through ever again, and it's just left me lost. Now, my girlfriend now says that if I don't become toxic for her, she will get bored and eventually leave me. Now, that is something I want you guys to make a note of. That is telling. Most women are not going to just come right out and articulate that. Matter of fact, they'll try to say the opposite, but this is, we go on here. She wants to see every side of me, she says, but that isn't who I am anymore. She even said, what's the point of us if I don't even know everything about you and need to form an emotional connection for us to work out? Last night she said this, and I didn't even know how to respond. Uncles,
okay,
what
look,
do I do?
That's a trap. I don't mean to interrupt you, Johnny, but all my nephews watching right now, it's a trap because an emotional connection is a subjective thing.
Yep.
So, all right, Johnny, go ahead and continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I heard it's a trap in that Star Wars character's voice, whose name for some reason I'm a nerd, but I can't remember. Yeah, I got to say, well, that was the end of the note. He just wants to know, or the email, he wants to know what to do here. And there's a lot to unpack here, like you were already alluding to. Now, she's seen negative patterns in her exes, and she's expecting the same from you. At which point you doubled down on your nice guy act. And I'm not saying it's fake, but I mean, you know, she tells on herself with regard to her so-called attraction to toxicity. Now, you didn't say how old you are, but I got to say, it's clear that you guys are young. And I don't know that she necessarily really wants toxicity as much as she probably wants drama and the excitement that it brings.
Oh, no, because if he was cheating on her, she wouldn't want that toxicity then.
Right. Well, and I mean, that's just it. But
then if he was out smashing other women, nah.
Well, this is why a lot of nice guys get that misconception that if you're not enough of a jerk, no woman's going to love you, at least no high value woman, as they say. But the fact of the matter is, it's not about that. Understand. The guys that say, well, girls only want assholes and we treat them bad and stuff like that. That is the kind of defeatist attitude that makes you say, well, I'm the nicest guy that I know how to act like, and I'm not getting all that sex I deserve. That's what I'm really hearing when I hear that, because she's not attracted to a guy because he treats her bad or because he's toxic or even because he brings the drama that she so dearly craves. They are attracted to those kinds of guys because those guys give 0 Fs. Okay. They don't care. They have that. And that comes across as mentally strong, especially to a young, impressionable woman who, let's face it, until we're 25, is that what they say? Our brains aren't fully developed. Whatever it happens to be, I don't even care about that. What I'm trying to say is she wants a guy who keeps her on her toes and keeps her following him. She's basically asking you to be mentally strong, something she has to chase after. I think that's the toxicity she's referring to. Let's talk on that for a minute, Bill.
Well, hold on, Johnny, just before we get to that, I need to talk to my nephew Jerry here for a second. Because you do not let a woman dictate terms and drag you backwards into a version of yourself.
Oh, God, no.
You already worked so hard to escape. Because that's your real lesson.
For a year. For a year. You spent a year getting to know yourself, and you're letting this girl try to tell you who you should be?
So, look, what's really happening? Your girl got used to this chaos, these emotional games, toxic behavior, and weak men. So now healthy feels boring to her. And that's not your fault.
Yeah. No.
But it is your responsibility to not become stupid and keep trying to keep her entertained. And look, let's talk about these traps, Johnny, because a lot of men hear you're too nice. And like you said, they immediately think, well, maybe I need to be darker. No, that's low IQ behavior.
Well, not only that, but then you're acting. And what happens when you act like you're confident, but you're not?
Nephew, I need you to understand there's a big difference between being weak and being disciplined. A disciplined man has standards. He says no. He checks disrespect. He stands on business without becoming manipulative and especially abusive. And here's the dangerous part. The part you liked hearing. I want your toxic side. Why? And I'll tell you why, nephew. It's because your ego remembers that toxic men often get intense reactions out of these women. And that's real. So some men confuse emotional chaos with attraction. And you know what, Johnny? A lot of women do too.
And that's just it. What do we tell these young men? You're vetting women to bring peace, not chaos to your life. And luckily for you, Jerry, this woman's actually coming right out and saying it. Most of the time, I would say 99 times out of 100, she's not going to come right out and tell on herself and say, hey, I'm looking to bring chaos to your life. Is that okay? No, I mean, we usually end up, especially at a young age, we usually end up accepting chaos increasing gradually to the point where we almost don't even notice because, hey, pretty lady still lets me see her naked. And I think that what she's looking for here is, you know, I mean, you had a previous relationship in which you were indeed toxic, but like I said, you focused on yourself. You focused on yourself for an entire year, and I think that's great. But she wants you to see her downside. Now, I'm wondering, Bill, could it be that she's feeling guilty because of her dark side that he may not know about? Or could it be her self-esteem? Or do you think she's just maybe trying to see if he's livable? And I got to tell you, I think that's the least likely because verbally, you're not going to really get a whole great understanding either way.
Well, just because toxicity gets emotional reactions out of women does not mean that it creates healthy long-term attraction. All right, fireworks are loud too, nephew. That doesn't mean you should build your house out of explosives.
Now, listen, I've been in some toxic relationships, and I will say the adult fun involved is a lot of fun, but nothing else is.
All right, well, check this out, Johnny. A lot of women, they do not actually want peace. What they want is stimulation. And that's
she's coming right out asking for it. Yeah.
Fights. That's why these women are out here shit testing you. That's why they're out here creating drama. That's why they poke at emotionally stable men because calm to them feels unfair.
Yep.
What you need to do, though, nephew, is stop trying to prove that you can become toxic. That chapter is over. You've already learned how manipulation hurts people, how chaos does nothing but destroys trust, and how unstable masculinity can damage women. And I think all of us forget we have a responsibility to lead these women better off when our time with them is over.
You know, in fact, Uncle Bill,
honestly, we should be giving them the game on how to move through life and helping them level up while we're with them. And when it's time to go our separate ways, they're a wiser version of themselves because of the time they spent with us.
You know, I really like the term you use, masculine instability, because to me, that's an oxymoron. That's a contradiction of terms. Masculinity is not about instability because no one will ever see an unstable man who is habitually and by character trait unstable as the kind of masculinity they're looking for, or even as masculinity at all. You know, we have to make sure. Hi, Brock. Good to see you. I just think that this is the kind of thing where you have worked on yourself, you worked on your confidence, you've worked on a lot of things, you worked on your treatment of others. The next step is I want you to start working on stability and self-confidence because right now, this person is making you question the hard work you've put in over the past year. And I know I wouldn't stand for that. Not even for myself, let alone anybody else. So I'm not saying that you didn't work hard enough or you didn't do the right things. I just think maybe there's a few more aspects of your masculine self and your own stability that you should be paying attention to and working on. That's all. And you're on the right track. You're on the right track. You did the right thing by saying, hey, I don't want to be in a relationship until I get this straight. And the thing of it is, you got in a relationship when it wasn't completely straight, but hey, you're doing more working on yourself than most guys in your situation do.
Now, a lot of men, you guys,
what's up, Zekify?
Try to become colder, darker, or more manipulative because you think that's what women respond to. No, they respond to strength. Weak men think strength means toxicity. Grown men understand calm leadership is strength. And
that's a subconscious,
If a woman needs you to emotionally, if she needs you emotionally unhealthy to stay interested, Johnny, then she's attracted to instability, not intimacy. And if you betray your own growth just to keep her, that makes you weak. No, you're a weak little bitch. I'll be honest.
I don't like it either, but I got to say that's probably the case. My final thought on this is as follows: girls her age, they love drama. Okay, She's basically trying to tell you that you're too predictable. And, Uncle Bill and I have had this conversation many times with you, and we're going to have it again. She is accusing you of being harmless. What she really wants is excitement, but that you're peaceful. Now, we've explained this before. We've broken it down before, but I'll break it down for you again. There is a huge difference between being harmless and being peaceful. Peaceful means you are capable of doing damage. You are capable of effing things up if you really wanted to, but you choose a more intellectual, stable path. Harmless means doesn't matter how pissed off you are, you couldn't do a thing. Harmless means that you couldn't do damage if you tried. Harmless means that she can be around you and know exactly what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and probably even why you did it. And I got to tell you, especially for a younger woman like this, but I think for most people in general, that's going to get boring. So while she's saying she wants toxicity, I don't think she's really wanting toxicity. She wants you to have the option of being that toxic person. She wants you to be that. She wants to know that you could hurt her, but that you won't. Now that's a very, very, delicate balance. And here's the thing. The biggest mistake you could make is, like Uncle Bill said, trying to work hard to be what she says she's looking for, because now, number one, it's not going to be real. Number two, it's going to be just like faking confidence, which again is going to come across creepy or desperate or sad or whatever every single time. In this particular situation, it sounds to me like she's working out in her own head the fact that she's simply not mentally and emotionally attracted to you because she doesn't feel like she has to work to keep you. She doesn't feel like she's competing with anyone, anything, any concept, any other woman, any hobby, any kind of thing you have. And it even kind of sounds like, and look, I'm just making an inference here because you didn't mention either way, but it really sounds like you might have made this girl a bigger part of your life than some of the things you've done for yourself. You might have even made her a bigger part of your life than your own recovery, than your own, introspection, than your own commitment to bettering yourself. And if that's the case, it simply sounds like she's not your type or you're not hers. That's all.
Johnny, there's some insecurity in this too. And
yeah.
I want to talk about insecurity in men. For all my nephews watching this, you guys going to catch this on the replay, because most men think that insecurity means being shy. It means that you're lacking confidence or feeling nervous around women. And I'm here to tell you that's kindergarten level understanding, because real insecurity is going to go much deeper than that. So, Johnny, let's talk about what insecurity actually is for a second. It's unstable self-worth. That's it. A man's internal value constantly changes based on attention, money, success, women's approval, validation, comparison, outcomes. Now his nervous system is always reacting to external circumstances.
And never mind that. He's even got outside sources like the mass media and what you're hearing in music or seeing on TV or seeing on, I can't say TV, I sound old, streaming video. You're letting pop culture influence the way you think you should be. And I don't care who's influencing it. If you have to manufacture it, it's not you. And you know something? We like you. We love you. You are our nephew, not some image that somebody else, even yourself, is trying to create.
Great. I love that, Johnny. Here's why men become insecure. Because most men, they never build an internal identity. Like Johnny was just saying, you guys are socially conditioned. You build a performance identity, meaning I matter if I win. I matter if I succeed. I matter if I'm chosen. And every loss becomes identity damage. And that's why rejection hits some of you guys so hard. So most insecure men, you're not weak because women rejected you. You're weak because you never learned how to emotionally survive without validation. That's the real issue we're having here. So now silence hurts. Now rejection starts to destroy you. Uncertainty controls your movements. Comparison starts to poison your mind. And a little bit of criticism completely destabilizes you. Externally, you look like men, but internally, your nervous system still needs permission to feel valuable. Male insecurity usually starts pretty early, too. A lot of men grow up overlooked, embarrassed, rejected, or even bullied, emotionally ignored, and nobody taught them how to build self-worth internally. So they were unconsciously made to start chasing women, status, muscles, money, success, hoping that achievement is finally going to remove these insecurities from you. But
And we're not criticizing the pursuit of those things. We're criticizing your reasons for pursuing those things.
Thank you for elaborating that, Johnny. Insecurities built internally, it cannot be solved externally. And this is why rich men still feel insecure. This is why good-looking men still feel insecure. This is why men with women even feel insecure, because the root of the issue never got fixed. So that's what we're here trying to do today. We want you guys to start monitoring yourselves. And let me tell you what that means. This constant self-monitoring that you're doing, it creates a nervous kind of energy. But when you stop that, meaning stop wondering, did that look stupid? When you stop wondering, does she like me? Like the first guy who wrote in, you stop wondering, am I enough? Women feel that shift. And let me tell you something, insecure men, they're never present. They're always trapped in self-evaluation. And a lot of insecurity is a fear of a social death. I said this last week, Johnny. Humans, we evolved in tribes. We're just like being rejected, humiliated, excluded. That could threaten your very survival. So insecure men subconsciously treat rejection and embarrassment like a biological danger, and their nervous system tends to overreact.
Well, you know, and Uncle Bill, they say that, you know, growth and strength, it takes a village. Guess what, nephews? We are the village. Thanks for being here. Yeah. I think that's going to actually, I mean, he's going to need to,
well, I'm about to tell him how to fix this insecurity, Johnny.
Yeah.
And that's not by faking confidence. That's not by acting alpha. That's not by memorizing the things that Johnny and I say on this show. It's not.
Dude, the worst phrase I ever hear, and everybody thinks it's a great phrase, is fake it till you make it. That doesn't work.
Yeah. Stop the internet cosplay, please. Real confidence comes from repeated self-respect.
I like that.
You have to stop lying to yourself. Insecure men avoid rejection. They avoid discomfort. They avoid confrontation. They avoid the hard conversations because they're protecting the ego. So first thing you need to do, nephew, is tell the truth about your weakness, because that's where masculinity starts rebuilding itself.
And to be clear, you don't talk about your weakness to anybody but yourself or your uncles.
Your favorite uncles here. All right. Step 2, you're going to build proof through action. Okay. Because confidence is not positive thinking. It's not listening to affirmations. Confidence is accumulated evidence. All right. Meaning you have to keep the promises that you make to yourself. So if you agree to get on the Johnny Dumbbell challenge, shout out to Johnny Dumbbell, you got to see that through to the end and then stack on that. Training consistently, improve yourself socially, learn how to handle rejection, surviving failure. These kind of things, nephew, they create a certain internal weight. Now, one of your biggest mistakes that I see you making is you have to stop using women as your stabilizer here. And this is huge, because a woman should not determine your peace, your worth, certainly not your confidence, and definitely not your emotional stability. If her texting frequency controls your emotional state, you're insecure. Period.
Simple.
You need to learn how to survive discomfort.
Yeah.
That's step 4.
Not survive it. You'll need to learn to be comfortable with discomfort, as Uncle Bill always says.
This is real masculine initiation. Most insecure men organize life around avoiding pain. Grounded men learn discomfort is survivable. And this is going to change everything for you. Next thing.
Hi, Desi. Thanks for joining us.
Shout out there. Next thing, I need you to build a life bigger than dating. Because a man obsessed with women usually lacks a mission. You know, Johnny and I are always talking about your purpose. So it's because when a man has a purpose, when he has discipline, when he has brotherhood, when he has goals, when he has direction, women stop becoming emotional oxygen. Now they just become a perk of the job.
Yeah,
right?
get to know how dopamine is obtained offline. Seriously.
So I just want you to understand that insecurity, it's going to disappear when your self-worth stops depending on external approval. Then you'll have freedom, because once a man no longer needs validation or reassurance or social constant approval, he becomes calm. Nephews, it's calm men that are powerful because they're not out here pretending. We want you to have an identity that fully belongs to yourself, nephew. All right, Johnny, I stood on my soapbox long enough.
Hey, no, this is the kind of stuff.
Question. Nephews,
this is the kind of stuff these guys need to know. Yeah.
Questions.
Yep. So question 3 comes from right here in Western PA, but this is from Alexei, who was born and raised in Greece. First of all, I'm going to compliment your English and your grammar. It's better than a lot of Anyway, he says, I thought I got ghosted, but apparently that wasn't the case. I talked to this girl for 2 weeks or something. I talked to this girl for about 2 weeks. Some things were going nice, and we were going to meet in real life. The day we were supposed to meet, I was met with silence. I thought she had ghosted me. I was so heartbroken and almost fell back into depression. Again, we're chasing the wrong things, fellas. I just moved on instead of lingering. That's what I'm talking about. 4 weeks later, I started texting this other girl. Notice, he didn't message for closure, didn't even ask questions. So far, so good. We started talking about 5 days ago. I guess by now that would be 8 or 9 days ago. And I like her vibe so far. Today, I got a message from the original girl. She asked me, the first thing she asks is if I missed her. Make a note of that, fellas. After calling out her ghosting me for 4 weeks ago, she tells me she's sorry and that she got hospitalized. But why did it take her 4 weeks? All right, that's cool. All
right, go ahead.
He says, I don't know why, but she wants to tell me the reason in real life. In other words, she wants to say it. She wants to meet in person before she gives an explanation. I know why, but we'll get to that. So the thing is, I think I still have feelings for the original girl, but I have a bit of a hard time trusting what she says, probably because I'm afraid of getting burned again. I also like girl 2, but I haven't talked to her all that much yet compared to girl 1. I haven't met either one in person yet.
What?
I know. I'm stumped on what to do at this point. I'm tempted to take baby steps to try again with girl 1, as it's unfair to punish her because of something she couldn't control, but also tempted to continue with girl 2. No matter what I choose, I will end up hurting someone. I promise you won't. Uncle Bill?
Bruh. The only one getting hurt is you. I'll tell you. All right, now let me back up a minute. Okay, nephew, you got emotionally attached to women, not a woman, but women that you've never even met. So that's the first issue. And I'm not just gonna just glance over that real quick. And nephew, a lot of modern men, they're doing this right now. And it's because they're lonely. And that's just a harsh truth. You guys tend to build a fantasy before reality even exists. You didn't fall in love with her. You fell in love with possibility. You fell in love with fantasy. You fell in love with anticipation. And it built an emotional escape for you. And that's why a woman disappearing for 4 weeks almost emotionally broke you.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Recently, I would say last fall, I was supposed to meet a girl for drinks, okay? First meeting and everything like that. She doesn't show. So, I mean, honestly, my big thing was, I if you're going to send anything, it should be something along the lines of, hey, I waited 15 minutes and left. Best wishes. Good luck to you. That's maximum. The difference is, I got a text that same day. Holy crap, power outage at work. This and that. She was willing to send screenshots. She wanted to show proof of everything. I didn't ask for any of that. She was willing to show that she didn't ghost me on purpose, that she really wants another chance, and she was very clear about asking for that second chance. This is not what happened here. This girl went to the hospital and forgot to tell you for a month. Now, maybe she was in it for, you didn't say what it was, maybe it was a long illness and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and call BS on that. It doesn't take 4 weeks to tell somebody, "Oh, I ghosted you because I got hurt or sick or whatever, wound up in the hospital." Now, but you know what? That's okay. Let's take her at her word for just a second. Let's assume she is telling the truth. Let's say nobody's fault for the ghosting. Nobody's fault for the ghosting if what she's saying is true. It's not. But if it were, but you did what you should do. You moved on. You started talking to somebody else, somebody who, even if she is about to ghost you, she hasn't yet. But isn't it strange though that the first question she asks you is if you missed her? Not, oh, hey, I'm really sorry about what happened, blah, blah, blah. No, it's, do you miss me? Are you serious? I mean, why can't you?
They don't know what to say. You know how many awkward messages I've gotten from women. So I'm not disagreeing with any of what you had to say there, but what he needs to do, and I know he's not there yet, Johnny. He's not on this level, and he hasn't even met these women. But nephews, I'm telling those of you who are watching that leave a candle in the window for these women. Okay, give them some grace to find their way back to you. As long as it wasn't something that was against your standards, so disrespectful. Like if she cheated on you, yeah, don't ever let her back in your life. But if y'all got into a little argument and you went your separate ways over that, and she's going to apologize and treat you a little better, you should be giving her a little bit of grace to come back, as long as she didn't do anything against your standards. Now,
well, that would be okay. That would be okay, but we got to combine a couple of details here.
Right. Now, as I said, that's not what's going on here, but that's usually what I like to do. I will give them space. I don't hear from a woman from a month. I'm certainly not going to ask her what she was doing, where she was, or it'll be like, hey, let's have a drink, or hey, come over and, let's smash. It'll be
my signature move is if she texts you after a couple of weeks, my response is usually, oh, new phone. Who is this?
That's not bad. Hey, I like what you said last month, Johnny, when you said, what was it? One of these guys wrote in and you challenged him to wait at least 24 hours for responding to her message.
For a couple of reasons. Number one, you shouldn't be prioritizing somebody who doesn't prioritize you. Number two, you shouldn't be prioritizing somebody who doesn't prioritize you and being like, oh, hey, it's great to hear from you again. I'm so happy you texted me. Is not doing that. Okay. That's not doing it. What's happening here is you were so excited that she finally texted you again that you responded right away. I tell you to wait for two reasons. Number one, she needs to know that she's not your top priority, since you were clearly nowhere near the top of hers. And number two, I think you need to take some time to think things through as to what you should be saying, if anything. Now, I've gotten awkward text messages after several weeks, and most of the time I don't respond at all. You had one chance. All right. And right now, especially with the way my dating life is going, you get one chance, man. There's too many people out there. There's too many people there's too many girls in my inbox right now. You get one chance. All right.
One and done, nephews.
But the thing that gets me though is you're obviously highly attracted to this girl. Number one. Number two, she obviously knows it. Why else does she refuse to tell you over the phone or via text and needs to be right in front of you to tell you that? This definitely seems like the old common tactic of, well, just let me get my hot little self in front of him and he'll just believe whatever I say because he'll want to. If you don't think that women understand how our fragile egos work, you're out of your damn mind. Now, I'm mostly talking about attractive women. So before some of you get triggered, if you're triggered, take a look. Anyway, but what I'm saying is,
because if their emotional stability depends on that female attention, they know that immediately. Yep. And if her texting you or not texting you rather almost sends you into depression, this is very dangerous. I'm really glad you wrote in today, nephew.
Yeah, dude, because here's the thing. If she knows that made you sad and now she just needs to be in front of you to make sure you believe what she's saying, she's already taking those steps to trying to manipulate you out of whatever it is that she's trying to get from you. I can't really tell what it might be. I don't, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that if somebody wants to say, oh, but I want to tell you in person, they don't even know you. Now, if this was like an ex from years ago, or if it was any situation where it was somebody you actually knew, I would still say don't do it, but it would make a little more sense that she would come with that approach. But this is a person you've never met. This is a person who knows that if she gets in front of you, does the old lean and squeeze, you'll buy it. That's what she thinks. That's her level of respect for you at this point. So not only was she not in the hospital, she waited 4 weeks to text you because she was probably preoccupied with whoever she ghosted you for. And that didn't work out. So now she wants to be in front of you. She wants to try to get you to go, oh, pretty lady. Okay, I believe what you say because hot equals truthful, I guess. And even if she is telling the truth, even if she's, and here's the biggest thing, even if she is telling you the truth, you made the decision to move forward, to move on, to get into a situation that isn't going to be a manipulative situation, or at least hasn't shown itself yet. And that's what I mean. You know, you've done what you're supposed to do. You've moved forward. She knows you've moved forward. So the only reason she wants to be in front of you now is she's competing with this ghost of whoever she imagines you dating now. And again, even if she really were hospitalized, this really sounds sketchy to me. I mean, at this point, you moved on to a girl that you admittedly like, who hasn't given you any kind of sketchy explanations or anything so far. This second girl you're talking to so far has a clean slate. The girl you're pining after, I'm sure she is hot, but she missed her chance. And even if she really were hospitalized, look, man, if that were true, let's assume she was telling the truth, then sometimes those are the pitfalls of dating. Sometimes the timing's off. Sometimes things happen and you had to move on. And now that you've moved on, you've made your decision, and now it's time to stick with it. And honestly, I feel like you made the right one, because even if she is telling the truth, you're letting things flow naturally. You're getting involved and things like that with somebody else, because you are not going to sit around and wait for a month for somebody to text you back. And I would say at this point, she's a swing and a miss, and you're on to the next pitch. Play ball. Sorry, I got the Pirates game on in the background. I'm using baseball terminology.
Johnny, I need to address something he said. I think this is really important. He said, I'm going to hurt somebody no matter what I choose.
He thinks he's going to make one of them cry.
Nephew, you haven't met either one of these women. You need to slow down. This is not marriage. This is not betrayal. This isn't commitment. This is early conversation. Yep. But insecure men emotionally fast forward on everything. So now suddenly texting feels deep. Attention feels intimate. Impossibility feels permanent. And that creates emotional chaos. All right, so here's the real game, nephew. You don't owe exclusivity to fantasies. You owe honesty to reality. And I'll tell you how to fix this. I love telling you guys how to dig yourselves out of the hole. So I got you, Alexi. First, you have to stop emotionally committing before any kind of real life anything exists. No more building futures in your head. No more mentally attaching through text messages. No more acting loyal to women who barely know you. That's emotional starvation behavior.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he almost feels like he's cheating on this person he's never met.
Right. Well, and Johnny, he needs to stop making women his emotional oxygen. Yeah. I get it. Some men are lonely now, but one woman texting them consistently, it gives them hope. And that's why they spiral so hard when uncertainty shows up. So I'll tell you what I would do, nephew. Let me give you some real game here. I would go meet both women. I would stay calm. I would observe reality. I would watch for consistency. We talk about vetting women all the time on our channels. And nowhere, I think, does Johnny or I say that that's an exclusive process. You should be vetting multiple women. Now, where you go into sucker territory is when they don't know about it. So I got stuff, Johnny, like the lost and found box. I used to have it in the bag. I could bring it back out if we need it for lessons. But when a woman walks into the crib and sees
got mine right here.
Lost and found box, right? With the makeup, the jewelry, all the stuff that women leave behind, and it says lost and found on it. They know what kind of man they're dealing with. Now, you got to stop acting like every attractive woman who gives you attention is the one.
Bruh.
That's easy to do for a young man. I hate to say it, but I mean,
Johnny, that's desperation leaking, and that's really what I need him to tighten up on tonight.
Yeah, good looks do not necessarily equal truthfulness, nor integrity, nor discernment. Just because she's hotter doesn't mean that she has some sort of discerning palate that less good-looking girls don't have.
Well, Johnny, I think all three men today have had the same problem. Insecurity is making them emotionally reactive. They're overthinking. They're seeking reassurance. They're panicking during uncertainty. They attach too fast. We see this constantly. So the real masculine shift, a grounded man does not need constant texting. He doesn't need constant affection. He doesn't need constant reassurance. He doesn't need constant proof to remain calm. And I'll tell you why. Because his confidence is built internally, not rented from women's behaviors. Now, Johnny, I'd love to go in on confidence. Should I give him some game on confidence tonight? Nephews,
I think that's our mission in life, Uncle Bill. Let's do this.
Nephews, call up. We're only going to be on for a few more minutes. We have things to do today as well, too. We just make you guys and your questions a priority because we want to help each and every one of you do better. Now, most men think confidence comes from getting women. They think it comes from winning or status and money, approval. And that's surface level.
Anything but yourself, right? Yeah.
That kind of confidence is fragile as hell, nephews, because the second she leaves, the second another man enters, the second rejection shows up, or life finds a way to humble you, your whole identity shakes. Why? It's because your confidence was externally rented, not internally built. A lot of men, they're not confident. They're temporarily reassured. And there's a huge difference. A woman likes them. Yep. Now they feel powerful. She pulls back and they start to feel worthless. That's not confidence. That's emotional dependency with better marketing.
And the advice I'm going to give you is not only related to this, but it's going to be kind of fitness related too, because has anybody ever known that person that goes to the gym all the time and all they ever do is get on the elliptical or the treadmill? Because at that point, you're in the gym to build muscle, but at that point, all you're doing is moving the muscle. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't burn calories, but I am also saying it doesn't raise your metabolic rate because you're not building muscle mass. Same situation here, except we're talking emotionally and mentally. If you are looking to just move around and show that you move around, you're not really building your own confidence. You're not even showing your own persona. You're not sharing anything about you that she's going to want to partake in. You might be sharing a few things she might want to have access to, but that is definitely not the same thing. Build that muscle, the brain muscle. Yes, I know it's not a muscle, but build it and move forward with that and be the man who moves forward instead of acting like the man who moves forward. It really is that simple. And if you don't think that's enough, then do what our friend Jerry did and take some time to work on it.
All right. One thing I need you to stop doing, nephews, weak men borrow confidence from women. Mm-hmm. Some men, they only feel, excuse me one second, I got to fix this with TikTok. Every time I'm live for an hour, it makes me do something to verify that.
Knock it off, TikTok.
Hey, well, I'm trying to give them the game too, Johnny.
Just don't knock us off, you know. Yeah.
Apologize for the delay. All right, where was I, Johnny? All right. Some men, you guys allow women to validate you. So now their attention, rather, it becomes addictive and rejection becomes absolutely devastating to you. But women, they're unknowingly holding you guys emotional hostage. Okay. And this is why some of you guys spiral so hard, because when a woman delays texting back and suddenly you can't focus on your own life, you're checking your phone constantly, you're overthinking, you start stalking socials and mentally collapsing. Why? Because her attention was your source of emotional regulation. And I'm here to tell you that's dangerous. Now, I'm also going to give you the real definition of confidence, because confidence is emotional self-trust, meaning no matter what happens here, I'm still good. That's real masculine stability. Yep.
And that will show. That will show in others whether you, and by the way, it'll show without you mentioning it, because if you have to mention it, is it?
Go ahead, Johnny.
No, that's it. I was saying, you don't, in other words, if you have self-confidence and you move with self-confidence, you don't have to say, hey, everybody, do you see the self-confidence I'm moving? That's what this is, just so you know. That's not how it works, guys. But here's the thing. Once you become the leader that you want to follow, you'll become the kind of leader that she wants to follow, whoever she, that lucky lady that you end up with, might be.
And that's what we're trying to teach you here, that masculine shift. The weak men walk into these interactions asking, how do I avoid rejection? A grounded man walks in asking, do I even like her energy? And that subtle shift, that's going to change everything. Because now you're not performing. Now you're not auditioning. You're certainly not begging internally, and you're not seeking any kind of approval. You're observing, and that's power. And the reason that some men become clingy, needy, possessive, or even obsessive is because they confuse emotional attachment with identity stability. Now, meaning the relationship becomes their purpose. That woman becomes their validation, their source of self-worth. So when they lose the woman, it feels like they're losing themselves. And that's why breakups destroy some men psychologically too. And they didn't lose companionship. They lost the structure holding their identity together.
Simply.
Now,
yep.
Real confidence, and we'll go deeper on this. If any of you guys need us to, write us, send us smoke signals, email Uncle Johnny.
Call us on the telephone that I'm pantomiming. We're Gen X. We know how to talk.
Hey, let me put the number up right now. Call us right now, nephews. We will teach you how to self-generate real stability in your life. And that's going to start with discipline. You need to find your purpose. You should have physical training. Shout out to JohnnyDumbbell and the JohnnyDumbbell Challenge.
Which, by the way, all three of you are going to get in your email. So Jay, Jerry, and Alexei, make sure you check your inbox if you haven't already. I sent it before we went live, so it should be there.
Look, I understand a lot of you men, you don't actually want love. You want relief from insecurity. So that's why you rush these attachments with these women. That's why you force relationships that don't fit. That's why you ignore the red flags. That's why you tolerate disrespect. You're trying to escape yourselves through women. And I need you to understand that these women can feel that. Grounded men, we don't chase energy like starving people. And it's because we already have an internal stability. So when we interact with women, we're calmer. We're less reactive. We're certainly less needy. We're more patient. We're more present. And it's because their identity doesn't determine our self-worth. All right. So I just want, Johnny, we talk about rejection too a lot. And I just want you guys to understand that when a grounded man gets rejection, all he thinks to himself is, all right, not alignment. That's not it. He doesn't start thinking that there's something wrong with me. So, and that's just one of the shifts we want you guys to be more aware of. And like I said, anything you need, nephews, we're here for you. Call up. We'll be on for another minute or two. Put your questions in the chat. Give me 1 second here.
And while he's doing that, guys, remember one thing that we always want to do. You always build from basic to specific. Build your body, build your brain, and build your spiritual health. I tell my clients all the time, and they probably get sick of me saying this, and I'll say it to you. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And that goes for the guys who wrote in. That goes to all of you watching. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get what you always got. We're here to tell you, not only is the variety the spice of life, but it's at this point a necessity, especially in your formative years. And by that, I mean, for as long as you can hear, communicate, and as a result, grow. That's why we're here.
Nephews, look, today's episode, it wasn't really about women. It was about weak men looking for women to make themselves feel strong. Until a man can understand that, he's going to keep repeating the same cycle over and over again. Different women, same insecurity. Different texting pattern, same overthinking. Different relationship, same emotional collapse. Because the problem was never mixed signals. The problem was needing constant reassurance just to feel okay internally. Now, nephews, if you paid attention today, every single man that wrote in talked about the same issue. Needing certainty too fast, attaching before reality ever existed, panicking during ambiguity, and emotionally spiraling when women stop feeding that validation loop to them constantly. Nephews, that weak energy destroys more relationships than bad looks ever will. Because women can feel when his confidence is rented, when it's not owned. A grounded man does not need constant affection. We don't need constant texting, constant reassurance, or constant proof. We stay solid no matter what. Why? Because our identity, it doesn't disappear the second uncertainty enters the room. That's masculine stability. And let me say this clearly tonight, because some of you need to hear it. A woman should add to your peace. You should not become your peace. The second your emotional stability depends on her mood, her replies, her attention, or her approval, you're no longer leading yourself. Now your whole nervous system belongs to her behavior, and that's weak positioning. And nephews, a lot of insecurity comes from this fantasy that once I finally get enough validation, I'll feel secure. No, you won't, because insecurity, well, it's not cured by women. It's not cured by adult fun. It's not cured by attention or even relationships. It's cured by self-respect. Self-respect comes from discipline. It comes from honesty. It comes by surviving discomfort. And it comes from building competence, keeping your promises to yourself consistently. And that's where confidence actually comes from, not this fake alpha internet nonsense, not pretending to not care, not acting cold. Real masculine confidence is emotional self-trust, knowing no matter what happens here, I'm still solid. So this week, pay attention to yourself, nephews. Watch how quickly you seek reassurance. Watch how much validation controls your mood. Watch how fast you emotionally attach to these women and how uncertainty tends to destabilize you, because awareness, nephews, is where the rebuilding starts. And nephews, real quick, if tonight's stream helped you, do us a favor and hit that like button, share the stream, subscribe to our channels, email Uncle Johnny to get on next week's show, because there are a lot of men silently suffering from insecurity right now instead of fixing it. And they're hiding behind ego. They're hiding behind their anger. They're hiding behind lack of confidence. Women are emotional avoidance. And all that does, nephews, is make that hole you're in deeper. And we're here to help you climb out of it. Not through fantasy, not through gimmicks, not through pickup lines, but through self-discipline, through self-respect, and through grounded masculinity. Until next time, nephews, stand on business, control your emotions before they control you. And as always, go forth and conquer. John, you got anything else you want to add to this tonight?
Yeah, listen, I hope you guys enjoyed our Memorial Day matinee show here today. I really appreciate you all tuning in, especially if you're going to be coming from or going to whatever celebration, picnic you plan to cookout you plan on going to. Very important that we remember that while you're celebrating, make sure you're doing it safely. Make sure you're still having a good time. We will see you Thursday, but between now and then, you've got a whole Memorial Day to celebrate and 3 days after that. So, not to mention that Uncle Bill and I already got our finances tied up in a whole bunch of other stuff, so we don't have bail money. Therefore, keep the drugs and alcohol to a minimum, please. But if you do drink, don't drive. And if you do drive, don't park, because accidents cause people. Thanks again.
Appreciate you watching, nephew. God bless all of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.